You have, as you noted, voted for some of President Trump's nominees in this process, and you were one of the only Democrats to vote for the Laken-Riley Act. We saw you as part of the signing ceremony for that with her family, with President Trump this week. Now, there's been some blowback from the left about voting for that act, about the ICE raids that are going on now across the country.
I hope every local official would agree that anyone here, any of the migrants that are here with criminal backgrounds or engaging in criminal behavior, I think they should support that. Now, if ICE comes to round them up, I hope they would provide that kind of support.
Okay, so you also were the only Democrat vote in trying to move together a measure pushing back against the ICC. Specifically, it seems, for their decision to...
Well, I said that on social media, that I was incredibly disappointed. I absolutely disagree with that. I can't really understand why my party hasn't joined me in voting to sanction the ICC.
You know, when we talk about politicians who dare to go against the grain, folks who don't just toe the party line, but actually kind of, pave their own path. Well, there's one name that has been popping up a lot lately, Senator John Fetterman. To be honest, he's basically flipping the script, on what it means to be a Democrat in today's polarized political climate. So here's the thing. While many politicians dance to the tune of their party's demands, Fetterman, who's seriously becoming a symbol for pragmatism within the Democratic Party, is saying, hey, maybe it's time to focus on what genuinely helps our people. I mean, his recent, appearance on platforms like The View really shows his determination. He's defying the pressures of his party's extremes, and it's actually kind of refreshing. He's all about bipartisanship. He's stressing it's not about playing left or right, but about doing what's right for the folks in Pennsylvania. And honestly, if you're someone who thinks pragmatic solutions make more sense than endless partisan bickering, then you're probably finding this guy pretty interesting. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to hear more about how Fetterman's breaking the mold or see more videos just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm really excited to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of January, and by subscribing, you'll help me bring more of these stories to you. Seriously, it means the world to me. All right, let's keep going. Now, okay, let's dive a little deeper into, Fetterman's pragmatic outreach. This next move he made, it's got a lot of people talking, and not in a quiet sort of way. It's about that unexpected visit to Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, you heard that right. He went and held a meeting with former President Donald Trump. And you're probably thinking, what? Right, you're not alone in that reaction. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. Now, Fetterman making this choice, it really, really shook things up, didn't it? Some folks on the liberal side, they seriously lost it. The minute this news came out, it was almost like a whirlwind of anger, disbelief, sort of like, is he betraying us kind of vibe. The outrage was, I guess, really intense. But if we take a step back, what's really going on here? What is Fetterman trying to do? Actually, how do I put this? His intentions seem to be just a bit more genuine than maybe what they're being painted as, right? So, like he said, his goal wasn't to, endorse Trump or anything like that. No, but more about something that matters, a thing called dialogue. Yeah, dialogue, because maybe kind of like in Fetterman's mind, crossing over those lines in the sand doesn't mean abandoning your side, but trying to figure just what's best for the people who put you in office. So imagine Fetterman sitting there with Trump at Mar-a-Lago.
So, but are you surprised at anything you've been seeing, or do you anticipate that there's going to be changes that we should be prepped for that we're not thinking about?
Honestly, I haven't been surprised by anything now. I mean, he's been doing essentially what he actually campaigned on that. Mm-hmm. He announced he is going to pardon the J6 individuals. He is going to absolutely go after the border. So there's a lot of things that he's already ran on. I mean, criticized a lot of it, and I don't agree with everything either, but it's undeniable he actually ran on that and been really upfront. He's like, I am your reputation, and he's, kind of making those moves.
The air thick with tension, right? But he still goes through with it.
Well, and again, that's part of the own process too. I believe I'm the only Democrat, or maybe one of the only few, that have actually met with all of them. And again, I've approached all of them with, again, that open mind to have a conversation. And I don't trust, and certainly not, many of the things that were written or said about me weren't true. So I assume the same might be them as well too.
It's bold, maybe reckless even, depending on whom you ask. This act, it kind of stirs the pot. And it's that courage or maybe nerve that seems to really define him right now. It's not about loving Trump or agreeing with everything he stands for, but finding a ground, common or otherwise, that somehow aids the citizenry of Pennsylvania. Because what it boils down to is really concerned citizens who aren't all the way on either extreme left or right. They're just looking for some kind of sense, some kind of leadership that listens. And Fetterman, he's trying to answer that call.
Start with RFK Jr. He's been through his hearing. This is what the Washington Post says. His confirmation hearings were even worse than expected. The HHS nominee's answers to senators' questions were absurd and dangerous. Now, I know that you've had multiple conversations with him. Where are you this morning?
I have. I've invested a lot of time to really understand his background and to learn more about the man. And I've sat down with him twice in my office to have a conversation. So whatever the vote comes down on, that's going to come. It's going to come an informed view.
But, you know, not everyone is happy. And in politics, that's kind of, well, predictable, right? All right. So really, this backlash he faced, it's more than just opposition from a few colleagues. It's outrage, some calling his methods a flat-out betrayal. And that's kind of loaded, isn't it? Just imagine the intense meetings, the phone calls, the whispers, the how dare he hanging in the air. But what Fetterman's actions are clearly saying is, why not talk? Isn't that what good governance is about? Finding ways to solve the issues pressing down on real people? The meeting in Mar-a-Lago might have been unpredictable, yes, but Fetterman seems to understand something okay, about the bigger picture that some might not see in the moment of adrenaline and anger. Politicians, I mean, they almost always follow the well-trodden path.
I hope every local official would agree that anyone here, any of the migrants that are here with criminal backgrounds or engaging in criminal behavior, I think they should support that. Now, if ICE comes to round them up, I hope they would provide that kind of support. I certainly would never support terrorizing otherwise innocent migrants in those kinds of situations, or kicking in a door at a school. But I think we can all agree that every migrant here with a criminal background or engaging in criminal behavior needs to go.
But Fetterman here, he's kind of lighting up a new one, isn't he? Now, there's a whole lot of noise around this, right? The critics, they say that by engaging with someone like Trump or meeting with him at all, Fetterman gives the former president a seat at the table, a real one, not a figurative discussion spot, but an actual seat of legitimacy. They scream, you're giving him credibility. But when was the last time, really, you saw a politician face an absolute storm to pursue an action that's meant for bipartisan understanding? Anyway, many folks are asking, what are Fetterman's real motives? You hear things like, does he have a, ulterior motive? Or what's in it for him? And to be fair, well, politics is never that simple. There's always layers. It's like peeling an onion, revealing plans, strategies, sometimes intricacies. But to be honest, there's a part of this that feels sincerely tied to his constituents. Because at the end of the day, these are the people he's there to serve, right? To really understand this choice, let's look at what it means to Pennsylvanians, for instance, who probably voted for Fetterman for specific reasons. They didn't want, how do I say this, business as usual. They were looking for renewed vision. And Fetterman, he's kind of answering this call by not being afraid to take a step that seems almost alien to conventional tactics. He's not just walking into Mar-a-Lago then blasting his fellow Democrats about their failures. That's not his style. Instead, he's hinting at a strategy that doesn't just discount everyone who voted either way, but more about something deeper. It's like he's saying there's value in talking, even if you're standing on opposite sides of the ring. The point of real leaders might well be, yes, from his view, engaging those you least agree with might, after all, forge productive solutions. I mean, can you imagine the intensity in that room, the stakes? Every word of Fetterman's under scrutiny, magnified because, everyone's watching. It's tough, really, especially with colleagues ready to strike. But if pragmatism means sticking to the needs of Pennsylvanians, as he claims, isn't that what politics should actually aim for? As we transition through his decisions, his supporters, they're sort of cheering. This isn't the end for them, but a beginning, a bold charge that takes guts, raw guts in a world that demands polarization over peace. They're on board because Fetterman's actions speak to something many fear politicians lack today, the courage to act instead of hide behind party walls. And maybe there's like a quiet revolution brewing, built on ideas and discussion. Now let's think about the impacts for a second, right? If this kind of dialogue catches on, the ripple effect could potentially change more than just local Pennsylvania politics. How cool is that? We could be eyeing broader paths, even within the walls of Congress. Kind of possibility becoming endless as even a slim notion hits the floor. Minds are convinced, talks continue. However, whether or not people adapt quickly remains another question. Critics and, hardliners, those radical elements, they're not just going to step aside. Their voices are as loud as Fetterman's vision is cautious, striving to rise above typical party allegiance to propose a strong belief in conversation as a tool for change.
Well, I said that on social media, that I was incredibly disappointed. I absolutely disagree with that. I can't really understand why my party hasn't joined me in voting to sanction the ICC. When you've equivocated the Democratic leader of our special ally with the rapists and cowards of Hamas, especially after what you've seen, after terrorizing that poor hostage, you had hundreds and hundreds of people, the chaos, it's like, and they've equivocated that with the prime minister. It's vile. I mean, my colleague that's going to be next up on your show, we've had a long-going conversation in order to sanction the ICC. And I was absolutely supportive of that, and I can't defend why my party chose not to.
There's no easy way for his detractors to consume this bitter pill when they deem dissent as betrayal. Fetterman, he's pushing boundaries, yes, possibly risking isolation within his Democratic ties. However, the underlying push for common ground over strict policy lines illustrates perhaps the strongest weapon against stagnation: simple yet effective discussion. Sure, it ruffles feathers, yeah, and big fierce ones too, but maybe that's precisely how change happens, shaking the customary dust off tired processes. By mid-February, doors seem ajar, not permanently sealed. A time-honed craft speaks volumes more than assumptions based on worn stereotypes. From revisiting classic democratic narratives to allowing more progressive avenues, constructive dispute could conceivably carve a new path. If you think about Fetterman's sort of middle ground, maybe this, and believe me, this is startling, it all revolves around future consensus models already being formed. And that's powerful. They could carry potential through resilient acts of daring. Now, after hearing all this, does it make you think differently? What do you really think about Fetterman's approach? Let me know in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on how this all plays out. Let's keep this conversation going, shall we?